Hello, I'm Bill LeMay, and thank you for watching Community Matters. We hope you'll continue to watch as we discuss issues facing our community and provide you with the resources and information needed to find solutions. By the year 2030, baby boomers will be 65 or older, yet most do not have end-of-care life plans. Understanding our own mortality and preparing for it are important for our own peace of mind and our loved ones. So today, we have Dana Trent, author and professor of religion and humanities, with us today. So good to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Bill. It's an honor.
You know, I read a study about these great scientists. They studied our mind and they said, we don't think about death. Our brain has a unique way of shutting it off that's going to happen to everybody else but ourselves.
Right.
So let me ask you, it would make sense then why I'm procrastinating about an end-of-life plan. What are some of the stats on it? How many people have an end-of-life plan and how many do not?
It's a great question. 2/3 of Americans do not have an end-of-life plan, which is a lot. I mean, that's a big percentage, especially citing the study that you just talked about. In 2030, all baby boomers will be 65 years or older. And right now, baby boomers are 65 million Americans. That's a lot of Americans that do not have end-of-life care plans.
You know, that was something that I've thought about. And then that's it. I haven't moved any further on it. But for folks watching this morning, what is an end-of-life plan? What does that, incorporate?
End-of-life care plan is simply written formal instructions about the health care that you would want at the end of life should you not be able to speak for yourself. So the North Carolina Secretary of State, their website lists out all the legal forms that you would need in order for someone to make decisions on your behalf should you or I be incapacitated and unable to speak for ourselves.
You know, that's kind of an interesting point too. I imagine each state probably has a different way of looking at this, and we have a lot of folks that move into the area, so what may have been good in another state may not work here. What does the plan incorporate? I mean, let's use me. What the heck?
Okay.
All right. I have kids. I have a wife and all of that, and I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm not worried about my health, but there is going to come a time where something's going to happen. What do I need to think about?
Right. That's a great question. So SOSNC.gov, Secretary of State's website for North Carolina, lists that you need at least 3 documents, and the first document is your health care power of attorney. That is the person who would make decisions on your behalf.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Who do you choose?
Who do you choose? You choose someone who will advocate for your wishes. So this might very well be your spouse. Of course, that would be a default setting. But let's say you and your spouse, I'll use myself as an example. If my husband and I are in a car accident and both of us are incapacitated, who will make our decisions? And so we've each appointed our brothers as our healthcare power of attorney should neither of us be able to make decisions for ourselves or one another. So that healthcare power of attorney needs to be someone who can advocate for your wishes and someone who knows what you want.
Well, it better be somebody you're close with.
Yes.
I have a lot of brothers and sisters. How do you even approach somebody? Because that's a pretty weighty topic for them, and you're putting an awful lot on their shoulders.
You are, it's true. And that's why you want to make sure that they are comfortable with that decision. It's okay to talk to multiple siblings to see who would feel the most comfortable. Sometimes you choose a sibling that might be in state versus a sibling that is out of state for the mere fact of convenience. And so absolutely having the conversation with your family beforehand is how we avoid panicked decisions. I always say, you have a plan, you have peace of mind. If you don't have a plan, you have panic.
Well, that's true. I'm thinking about my family again, and probably a lot of folks have the same dynamics. You have, of course, your spouse,
right,
and your kids and grandkids and brothers and sisters, and hopefully they all love you very, very much. So you're going to have the likelihood of individuals disagreeing with each other as to what should happen to dad, for instance.
Correct.
And that would be tough for whomever you appoint. Is this a group discussion rather than an individual discussion?
It's a great question. It can be, certainly. I think it's quite appropriate to open it as a group discussion. You as an individual have to determine your comfort level with whomever you'd like to speak with in your family. With the holidays coming up, it's a wonderful time to gather family in and plant seeds about what these decisions may or may not look like. But we also have to respect the fact that some of our family members may say, no, I do not want to be responsible for those healthcare decisions. And so that's the time where you really have to realize which individuals in your family you could appoint to be your healthcare power of attorney.
Most families don't even want to have the discussion about,
true.
you know, Dad, come on, you're still young,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
They don't even want to talk about that inevitable end.
It's true.
You had mentioned that that's number one. You talk about the healthcare plan. Do you talk to doctors prior to that? Is that something, a resource for you?
Absolutely. Your primary care physician is certainly a resource for you, as are community organizations, any end-of-life care organizations like our local hospice, which is called Transitions Life Care. They are more than happy to help with FAQs and documents. But really your number one resource is that sosnc.gov. All the FAQs and forms are on there because in North Carolina, all of your legal forms about end-of-life care planning have to be notarized, which means it does require some advanced planning on our part.
Well, it sounds like you, for the most part, it's fairly free. You know, it's not as though you have to
Yes.
spend a lot of money at this point.
Correct.
When it comes to the health aspect of it, what other issues should we be talking about here?
So there's two other forms that the Secretary of State recommends. One is Declaration of a Natural Death, also known as a living will, which is another healthcare form, and then also organ donation. So you can opt in for organ donation. Those are the three healthcare forms. In North Carolina, we have the DMV, which helps us make our decision about organ donation, the little hearts on our license. So those are just the basic healthcare decisions, but then we want to think about other decisions that are both practical, religious, spiritual, like where do you want to die? If you have a choice, would you rather die at home with home health or hospice or in a facility? And then how do you want folks to care for your body after your death? These are all very practical yet tough decisions, but the reality is that 100% of us die, and we invest so much time in education, workforce training, babies, adoption, marriage, but we spend almost zero time planning for our death.
It's a tough discussion to
It
have.
is.
I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons I procrastinate is because what if I change my mind?
Right. That's a great question. And the honest answer is that you absolutely can. You can have all of those legal forms in place, and if you are of sound mind and can make your own decisions, or your family says, you know what, we think actually that our dad would not want this, they can reverse your healthcare decision at any time. And that's okay, that does happen. So there is freedom of choice both on the patient's part and on the family's part because things happen, they just do.
They do. How important is it to make sure you stay on a very good relationship level with that person? I'm teasing.
Right,
I'm teasing
exactly,
about that.
yes.
Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. We have a lot more to talk about, and it is certainly an important discussion to have, and I know you're not having it because most of us aren't.
That's
Let's
right.
see if we can make that happen today. We'll be right back.